Welcome to San Diego Sports Junkies, a show for fans.
By the fans.
My name's Josh Taylor, along with...
I'm Justin Smead.
And we have our guest.
I'm Jason Eismo. I usually am in producing, but I'm going to be on the show today and talk a little bit of Chargers with them.
Atta boy.
We got a Charger heavy show today, and we want some more input on the situation. We want to hear your voice. Call into the show, 619-387-3452. We'd love to hear your input, male, female. It's all Chargers today, so give us a ring. Chargers, they were 3-1, went to New Orleans, and we all kind of speculated this was going to be a tough game.
It was.
Unfortunately didn't pull it out down the stretch. Saints win 31-24. Kind of got screwed by the refs in multiple situations. But then again, you can take some good stuff out of it. Robert Meachem steps in, has a solid game. His homecoming, 3 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. What did you think about his performance specifically?
I was really happy to see him finally show up. One of the things that I noticed about it seemed that every time that Rivers went back in the past and threw an interception, the ball was meant for Meachem. Mm-hmm. So it was really nice to see them hook up. He kind of disappeared a little bit at the end, I think, but I think it was nice. I think it was a start to something that by the end of the year is going to be, they're going to have some really good chemistry.
Right, I agree. The chemistry's not there yet, obviously. What a homecoming for Robert Meachem, though. 2 touchdowns on 3 catches, 67 yards receiving. How good of a feeling is that for him? I mean, go back home, Drew Brees' record night, whatever. He gets 2 huge touchdowns for us. I believe that were early.
Very early. Yeah.
One was a deep bomb that the corner safety just blew, and he ran right past him, muscled it on in there. I like the way he played, and like Jason was saying, the chemistry's just gonna get that much better throughout
Absolutely.
the season.
So I think that this is a start of something. You kind of get that taste in his mouth now. He's tasted the end zone, and he's gonna want to see more of it. So you're gonna see him get a little more aggressive. And I think he's really going to start challenging these defenders.
Trust level.
And yeah, exactly. You got the connection with Rivers and Meachem there now, and they're starting to get on the same page. And when that happens, I mean, you can see what he does with Floyd and Gates. You throw Meachem into the mix, and now Eddie Royal's starting to get in the flow of things. There's only
things are starting to click a little bit.
Yeah, the offense is only going to get better. And speaking of offense, Ryan Mathews, getting stronger. 12 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. He added another 59 yards on 6 catches out of the backfield. A real bright spot, and is glad to see him coming to fruition.
Yeah, and this is what we missed at the beginning of the year. This is what we had hoped in the offseason. Everything that was being said about Ryan Mathews, he's training the hardest he's ever trained. He's holding on to the ball. He's carrying 10-pound balls in camp. He's doing his best to keep in shape. He came into camp the best he's ever felt. You heard all these good things, and then he goes down. This is what we needed to see. And for me, that one fumble really didn't do him justice, because now he doesn't get as much playing time, which we can talk about later. But I mean, look at the production in just the 12 carries for 80 yards. I mean, that's ridiculous. Not to even mention the 6 catches he had for another 60 yards, and he didn't even play a full game because he was splitting time with Battle and Brown. So
it seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was busting off 6, 8, 10, 12-yard runs. I'm wondering how long I'm curious if they're starting Battle because they maybe thought they rushed him back a little bit, or if they're trying to punish him for that fumble. I know he's got some fumble issues in the past. If you remember that play, I mean, he took a really, really hard hit. It wasn't like a ball that he just fumbled,
Right.
If they're punishing him, how long is this going to go on? Because it's really hurting the team.
Honestly, I don't think after what he did in New Orleans, there's any reason why you could start Jackie Battle right now. I mean, Justin's got some numbers down. He's like, I think he had like a
6.7 yards an average.
Right.
18 total rushes collectively as a group for the Chargers. Mathews only had 12 of those, and it seems like he should be in the 20 to 22 range a game, plus the out routes, swinging out patterns in the passing game. That's just not enough touches for Ryan Mathews.
No, I totally agree. He could have easily had 150 yards that game.
Exactly.
And why we got away from the run, I don't know.
And Jason brings up that good point. I mean, what's the real reason here? Are we really punishing him anymore? Yes, one fumble. Yet he's got to hold on the ball. I don't care how hard of a hit it is. Yes, it's the NFL.
Right.
You're gonna take some blows. I thought he's done a great job up until this point. And yeah, throw away the fumble. I get it. He fumbled around the goal line. That's bad news bears. You cannot do that in the NFL. but this is your best chance to win football games, guys.
It's a franchise running back.
Yes, and I like Brown and Battle. I think they're a good change of pace kind of backs, but you can't not play this guy. He needs to start playing.
There is such a difference between Jackie Battle and Ryan Mathews when they get the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Such a difference. And Jackie Battle's good. He's good for your short yardage. I'm happy he's on the team, but I don't want him starting. He's not. He's not going to take you the same places Ryan Mathews is going to take.
No, Mathews is a game changer. Period.
Yes,
exactly. And we all agree. I mean, more carries for him, more touches, and starting on Monday Night Football, it has to happen for us to win football games.
Yes, it does.
Right. Chargers D. They've been very solid to this point. I mean, they had a little setback with Atlanta, which personally I think that was the fact that our offense couldn't get it going and they kind of got tired.
Agreed.
I think some of this game was kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in this outing. They started really strong because the offense was, scoring points and keeping them rested. We had 3 sacks, an interception, and 2 forced fumbles. But then in the second half, especially in the third quarter, I don't know if you guys noticed, we kind of came out lackadaisical, if that's...
Lackadaisical.
Thank you.
Yes.
And on offense and defense, I think we came out kind of a little sluggish, and I think that because of it, kind of our offense slowed down, our defense was on the field longer, and we tended to not have that production that we had in the first half, and I think it hurt us down the stretch.
Yeah, when you have a little bit of a lead and you're going to play a little bit back, that actually doesn't bother me too much. I'm not saying go into the full prevent mode, but trying to keep the ball in front of you. What really bothered me is the fact that we were trying to keep the ball in front of us, and they were still blowing off big. We were making mistakes. I'm a fan of all the Chargers. I like all of them. I don't like to pick them, to call any of them out too often. Antoine Cason, the thing with him is I know you guys talked last week, and he plays way off the ball, probably because of the scheme, probably because they want him to. But he seems to make either his fault or it's the safety's fault. Somebody's making a bad decision and he's getting beat. If we're going to be getting beat like that, let him play on the guy and at least give us a pick every once in a while, like we had with Cromartie. At least with Cromartie, he would get burned, but he'd make the big plays too.
Right. He'd step up and make a play.
You have to give us big plays if you're going to get burned like that.
I agree. The secondary, you knew coming in here it was going to be a very tough challenge for the secondary this week. You knew that going in, and our corners. I mean, I'm not going to classify our corners as. I'm not going to classify them as Pro Bowlers. I mean, Quentin Jammer.
They're solid, though.
They're solid.
No, they are solid, but you're not going to mistake Quentin Jammer anymore for Darrelle Revis now. I mean, Darrelle Revis' talents. Cason has speed. He has recovery speed. He gets beat though to certain routes. When he doesn't make the quick decision. He doesn't jump routes he needs to jump. And he doesn't always follow the receiver on the right route. He gets lost.
He gets hit
sometimes.
on that double move.
He does.
He gives into it.
And for Gilchrist, he's not there yet because he doesn't have the experience yet. This is only his second year, I believe. It's just a young secondary besides Jammer. Cason and Gilchrist, they're going to get it eventually. But they are solid tacklers, good against the run. I think they're fair.
Yeah.
But going in, we just knew this was going to be a struggle this week. And you saw it was two receivers over 100 yards. Both of them, Colston and Henderson, combined for 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's ungodly, but that's Drew Brees' offense.
Exactly.
And some of our Twitter followers kind of mentioned about that, and at CT2SD and specifically with Cason and Gilchrist, he wants to know, can there be or should there be changes made, or are we stuck with them until the end of the year?
I don't think you make any changes. I think the Cason, I still think there's a lot of upside for him. I think that he needs a little bit. I think it's a confidence, and I think actually last year sitting him was a bad choice. I think that was bad for his confidence, and I almost think he plays some games a little bit too careful to not get beat, and it ends up working against him. He ends up getting beat anyways. He needs to go out there, have the confidence that he's not going to get sat, play aggressive, give up the big plays every once in a while. That's going to happen, but make the big plays
and
too.
Speaking of being aggressive, a lot of the NFL is those timing routes. is the slant plays, and I think New England and Green Bay are really good at doing the slant plays, and the Saints are too.
High-powered offenses,
So why as a defensive back, why don't you get up in their face and hit them off the ball? Why don't you hit them off the hike and knock them off their timing and buy yourself some time for the safety and or your linebackers to get to the quarterback?
I think the philosophy is keep everything in front of you. And
Right.
I think a Pagano defense against a Drew Brees offense, he doesn't want to take the big – if you're going to press coverage, you better know where your safety help is, because if you get burned one-on-one, it's all day, every day. It's 60 yards down the field. If you do not have Weddle or Big B back there and on the same page, you're burned. So for order them to do that, I mean, they really have to be on point, on their game, but they're young. That's why they're not doing this. Kayson's got to play 8-9 yards off the ball because he has to keep the guy in front of him. Would you rather get the 9 or would you rather get the 50?
True, and I'm not saying you have to do it against every team because not every team is that way.
I hear, and I think
you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think,
but certain teams, I think
philosophy-wise,
I think you could set it up occasionally. You don't have to do it all the time.
No.
But occasionally, you need to hit them in the mouth.
Oh, I agree.
And you need to knock them off their game.
What Jammer does.
Absolutely.
They allow Jammer to do that.
Yes.
Because he requires safety help. If you always notice, Jammer, that's where he got beat on that record-setting play. Jammer's man, Colston, went down the sideline. Weddle didn't help. Weddle did not help out.
No
it's
one
not
there.
because Jammer just goes, okay, go ahead.
Right.
It wasn't. They weren't on the same page, and that's exactly what happens.
Right.
And let me just bring up one thing. We're forgetting about Sharice Wright.
Yes, I haven't forgotten about him.
I'm not saying he's an all-pro Pro Bowler. But this guy is faster than anybody on our team.
Right.
And if he's any glimpse of what he was in the preseason, jumping routes, he's a huge part of our nickel defense. And that's a big blow right now until we get him back. I think we'll be a much improved defense.
Don't rush
when he
him
comes
back, though.
No, not at all.
Don't rush him back, but I agree with you.
Much improved,
I think he's definitely an improvement over Gilchrist. Not to take anything away from Gilchrist.
No, not at all.
Because Gilchrist is solid.
Give him time, yeah.
But, like you said, speed kills.
It does.
And if you got him on the field,
I mean, if
he
you
has
saw
the ability
preseason, it was
to
unreal.
if he makes a mistake on coverage,
right.
he has that speed to make it up and still make a play.
Exactly.
He still might be able to pull down an interception or something.
Player.
Exactly.
Dynamic, yeah.
Game changing type play.
Right.
So let's jump into it. There was a turning point in this game.
Right.
And we had the Saints up against the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
We blitz the quarterback, pick the ball off, run it in for 6. You're thinking we're up 17, this game's over. Here comes the flag, roughing the passer. To me, that's the turning point in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
And from there,
momentum.
I think we lost momentum. It was kind of like the Atlanta game. We lost the momentum, and then the refs start playing a part. What's your feeling on that whole situation?
The actual roughing the passer call, if you go by the history of the recent history, it was a good call.
It was a correct call.
I was a little bit upset that Ingram didn't. If he had just hit him with his shoulder,
do something else.
Not leading with his head, all defenders
or just hit him
know.
With his hands, straight up with his hands.
I know how hard it must be especially for someone like him. You don't get to the quarterback. This is your opportunity to get to him. You just want to hit him so hard, and I understand that.
He's trying to make a play.
But it's hard to boil a game down to one, but that probably ended up costing us the game.
Right.
When you talk about the refs, there were some bad calls. I hate to always pin a game on the refs. I'm not a big fan of that. I'll tell you one thing I noticed that I take away from this, that I really get really angry when I see teams play, and every single time there's an incomplete pass, the receiver throws his hands up like he's waiting for a flag.
Right.
But Floyd never does that. Whether he's destroyed on the play or not, he just gets up and jogs back to the huddle, and it works out against him because they never call it. He gets hit early, and Gates is the same way. Gates gets mauled on every single play, and finally at the end he started getting pissed off.
Right,
because
he got upset on that one specific, the final
ridiculous.
drive. The final drive, he did nothing, and Justin says if anything, the guy had his hands on him. He tried to slap his hands away.
You made this
there
motion
was no push
like,
off.
Get off of me, man.
Yes.
And the referee is standing right there, and Gates is like, get off of me,
and
dude.
that started the whole thing because that play right there, we're on the 30-yard line with 2 timeouts.
Well, 2nd and 37 at that point.
And a minute something left.
Yeah.
The game is ultimately in our hands. We tie that game. Okay, so it goes to overtime, and we have to rely on a coin flip. But I like our chances.
Yeah, I do too.
I like our chances.
I don't want to. I still don't want to pin it on the refs. There's so many mistakes that the team made.
You always the team first. What did you not do correctly to get yourself in the position, first of all? But it doesn't help when there's 3 consecutive penalties.
Oh, yeah,
not
no,
all
it
of
hurt.
them I agree with. A couple. The Hardwick one, sorry, I don't agree with the
ticky-tack
Oh
at
my
best,
God!
at best.
But we can judge whatever. But that's how it's going to be. You're on the road. Do something about it.
Yes.
And don't get caught for that stuff. Just don't do it.
Right. And like Jason's saying, he doesn't want to put it on the refs.
Right.
I have a couple key situations that Norv was the decision maker, and this could have also changed the game.
All right.
One, heading into halftime, we go for a 55-yard field goal instead of
It's a ballsy move.
possibly punting the ball and making them beat our defense with limited time.
That didn't hurt us, though.
It didn't.
They didn't score.
But it could have.
Right, but it
could have.
Would have, could have, should have. You can say that about anything.
And on the final drive, and even Collinsworth called it out that Gaither was hurt with 3 plays left, and why don't we use a timeout and get the right personnel in there?
Perfect guy to have on the screen right now.
Let me ask you this, though. Honestly, you really, really hold the head coach accountable to make sure every single player that is 100% on Jared Gaither. It is his responsibility to, if he cannot play, he needs to get out of the game. There is no way that you can expect your head coach, who's got 9 zillion things going on, to also say, oh my God, it looks like he's limping. First of all, you watch your linemen go back to the huddle, and one of them is limping on almost every play.
Well, okay, so maybe it's not him. Maybe it's the offensive line coach. But listen to last year when we had, who do we have go out with a concussion, and no one realized it.
Exactly.
No one did anything about it.
Who's that on? That's on Dealman.
But
I want you to watch
the coaches have to have some fault in that. They have to.
I want you to watch the game Monday night when the Chargers destroy the Broncos, because that's what's going to happen.
Good call.
You watch the linemen go back into the huddle, and you watch how many times you see one of them limping or looking like they're sore and stuff. Most of the time, it's just a little soreness. They're going to shake it off. You can't expect. But how can you tell, though?
How can you tell?
It was like he was hopping around on one leg.
No, you as a player, you cannot subject your team to inadequacy. You cannot be that guy to go, and you saw what happened on that drive. The guy beat him for a set, stripped the ball right out of his hands.
He crushed him, but then again, like
game
I said,
over. There's your game.
That's on Gaither.
You need time to throw the ball.
So if you don't call a timeout and put in the right personnel in that situation,
that's on Gaither.
There's way more to worry about. It's not
you
him.
have an offensive line coach that looks over that stuff too.
You need a lot of different people. It's a collective group. I agree. Maybe somebody needs to call him out.
Maybe I'll put 90% of it on Gaither, but you watch the game, pay close attention, and you'll see how many times you see even a wide receiver, a cornerback limping, and every single time you see that, are you going to expect the guys to say, "Oh my God, look at him, he's limping, let's get him out of there"? No way.
No. But
no
this,
way.
This, in my opinion, this is why I don't think head coaches that are also offensive coordinators, I don't think that they should coexist.
Has nothing to do with it.
I think the head coach is there for a morale standpoint, to keep his players' head in the game, and I think he's there to make those tough decisions.
It's on the player in that circumstance, but it's on a little bit of the coaching staff. It can be. You can put a little bit of blame there, but
if I'm a player,
it's the player.
If I'm a player,
I'm not coming out.
I'm not coming out.
I know you're not.
So it's up to the coaches to tell me to get the heck off the field.
If you're not coming out, then you better make sure you better be able to make the play on the next play or get your ass out of the game.
Right. No, and I agree.
Get your butt out of the game.
And that's the way it should be. But it's to that point where Jared Gaither needs to say something. Hey, dude, I'm not feeling 100%. Let's get Mike Harris in here for a couple snaps, see how I'm working it out. This is a crucial drive.
Now, let me ask you this.
Booga P. What's it do?
San Diego Sports Junkies, Booga P, you're on the show, brother.
Maybe
you are. What's up, guys?
Yeah, I'm right here. It's not all on Norv. Let me make something clear. To compare the Gaither leg injury, strained groin, to the Dealman thing, that's embarrassing. Dealman had a serious concussion. Timeout. He had a serious concussion. You're expecting him to be the one to point it out to people.
Different injuries,
the guy was loopy. He suffers a grand mal seizure on the plane, and we're supposed to expect him to be the one to point it out to the coaches. Right. The guy fumbled all over the field. He couldn't stay on his feet.
Right.
I expect somebody, hopefully Norv in that case, to pick it up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not pulling it.
He was in for 3 plays, though. Gaither was in for 3 plays. What about Steve Fairchild? What about the fact that we had Rich Bisaccia, who's the assistant head coach? One of those guys need to pick that up, fellas.
Somebody,
you know that.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Whether it's not Norv, you got the offensive line coach, you got somebody that's going to say that.
Wholeheartedly, and I understand what the other two guys are saying, but let's not compare the Gaither thing to the
no, I'm just trying to bring
injury.
I'm just trying to bring what's on the top of my head that I can compare it to as far as you have somebody that's obviously have an ailment and it's obvious you need to do something about that because it could be the costly choice of the game.
It's obvious now, but during the game, like you were saying, he was like that for 3 plays and he was able to play, although he got beat the play before. But players get beat. You can't. How are they supposed to know that was because of his?
Right, and I think this is such a big deal. And
Jason, did we have a timeout left?
We did have a timeout.
We did have a timeout left, and these are the tough calls that a head coach has to make.
Yeah, well,
this is the difference, in my opinion, between winning and losing a game, between a championship team and a team that is mediocre.
What is everybody saying though? If Gaither took a knee and we used our last timeout to get him out of the game, and then Mike Harris goes in and we end up running out of time, and then everybody's going to be screaming that he wasted our last timeout instead of sucking through it.
That's semantics. Come on.
Kudos to the Saints for making the play.
I think that's what happens.
I would have much rather had a healthy Harris there than
sure, everybody would.
Gaither took one step and boom, the guy was gone.
Everybody would. That's on Gaither, man. That's on Gaither.
The only reason this is a big deal, guys, and hear me out real quick. I mean,
it's because we're fans.
Well, no, it's because we're passionate about it, and we're all just here talking crap. But last year it was such a big deal about Dealman, and I'm not going to compare the two situations at all because a head trauma injury is way more serious than Gaither's back spasms hobbling around on the field. To me, it was such enlightened last year about Gaither on Dealman's injury. It was a huge deal. It was like a national thing. And for it to happen again this year, not in the same seriousness, but another player hobbling around, not out there at his 100%, at his best, not giving our team the best chance to win. That's the whole hindsight. This whole thing. It's only a big deal because we went through it last year in a different circumstance. So for me, this year, why isn't, like you said, why isn't somebody on the sideline yelling? Yeah. Why isn't the player taking action? What's going on here? Why isn't somebody in the huddle looking at Gaither and going, "Hey, bro, you're probably what's up, man? You got a little injury. What's up?"
And that's what I'm getting at is if I'm a player, I don't want to come out either. I don't want to be the guy that pussed out and didn't.
You don't want to be that big V. Yeah, you don't want to be the big V
out there. At the same time, somebody, whether it's a head coach, assistant coach, whoever, somebody's got to point out the fact and get it to Norv, say, hey, we might have a problem here. Mm-hmm. At least take a timeout and evaluate the situation.
Yeah, something needed to be done.
Hold on. Let's say the Dealman thing doesn't happen last year. Let's not ignore the fact that the clock management and the 2-minute offense for the Chargers
is horrible.
Has been less than dismal.
It's horrible.
I
have no problem saying it's horrible.
Can we maybe attribute it to that? Like, hey, should we have an extra point of emphasis on the attention paid to whether it be someone being injured or just what's going on the field? Let's not just keep our head in the plastic sheet that we're trying to cover our mouth with when we're calling plays.
Right. Now the 2-minute offense is interesting because the Chargers have had a problem with the 2-minute offense for the last few years.
Forever, man.
And I'm wondering, is that on Norv or is that on maybe Rivers? Because if you look back at Norv's history, this has not been an issue, and all of a sudden it is. Maybe it's the way Rivers, he seems to be very interested in making sure everybody's lined up in an exact position, and he positions everybody during the 2-minute offense like he does during the regular game, and maybe that's an issue. Maybe it is Rivers. I love Rivers, so I'm not trying to knock him. I'm just wondering if the 2-minute offense problems are from him or from
blame on him
from Norv.
My opinion, I see it's not just Phillip. I see everybody kind of lollygagging back to the line of scrimmage. You watch other teams, and they're hustling back. They're jumping on that line. They're ready to go, where it seems like everybody's kind of just like half-ass jogging or walking.
What's crazy about this whole thing, and Booga, you could speak about this because we used to be the comeback kids, man. I mean, 4 years ago, man, we were making comebacks all over the field. I think it was, 09 we beat the Giants. Or I don't even know. Maybe it was
we did.
09.
Touchdown pass in the last minute.
Vincent Jackson in the corner.
Vincent Jackson in the corner.
And that's the kind of plays I'm used to seeing. The Cincinnati game. The way we fought against the Packers last year. I'm just used to Phillip Rivers in the fourth quarter really being a machine and not having these kinds of issues. But recently, yes, it seems like we're not as efficient at the 2-minute drill as we should be. And what can we contribute that to, Booga? I mean, is that a coaching thing? Is that something we need to work on more in practice? Because it seems like Phillip Rivers has had all the experience in the world to be knowledgeable in this situation. We should be flowing.
Right. Well, I guess here's the thing. We don't know. Let's make that clear. We don't know for sure what it is. Is it a combination between Norv and Phillip? I mean, I think that's safe to say. We're 7-11 loss record in those type of games. The last 18 games we played, 2006 through 2009, our record was considerably better. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. And on another point, I don't remember who even said this. It was on Twitter, but they were spot on. A player called out, and it might have been Warren Sapp actually, when he was with the Raiders and Norv Turner was the head coach. They never even practiced the 2-minute drill.
Wow.
Do I like Warren Sapp? Do I have much respect for him? Absolutely not. The guy came at me one time for no reason. It was hilarious. But here's the deal. I find it hard to believe, and I'm not trying to go all homer on the Phillip Rivers thing. Yes, he's my favorite quarterback. I wouldn't trade him for anybody else. Here's the thing. If you go through the steps to be prepared for those type of situations, at least once a practice, I don't care, 3 times a week, however many times it takes to get it down, you have to have the 2-minute drill down. And when something looks off, whether that be at the beginning, pre-play, during the play, or post-play, whether that's a 6'9", 360-pound behemoth, limping all over the place, you have to be able to recognize that.
Right. No, you do.
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And I hope we turn it around because, like Justin said, those were the games we always knew we had that chance, and I don't think any fan really feels that way anymore. We get down or we're our backs are against the wall. It's like, shoot, this is probably not going to turn out the way we want.
It's not that I don't feel that way anymore. I think Phillip can get it done.
I definitely felt that way against the Saints. I felt like we can get it done.
I think it's the way our rhythm has gone in the ball game. It's not so much can Phillip get it done. We know he can do it. He doesn't have the talented Vincent Jackson anymore, that's for sure, and the big play capability with the one-on-one coverage. But that shouldn't be an issue for us. I mean that type of situation should never cross our mind as we can never get it done. He's done it before. We know we can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
I agree. And Vincent, as much as I'm not too about him leaving for various and sundry reasons, Vincent Jackson made a lot of plays that a lot of wide receivers in the NFL can't make.
Right.
You can't teach 6'5", 230.
No,
you just can't do it.
You can't. That's a big loss, and we knew it in the offseason, man. Right. It was a big blow to our offense.
So, Chargers are 3-2. We have a big game, Booga, against Denver. Huge game, and we were looking at this on the schedule when the schedule came out. You know, that was going to be a huge game. Peyton Manning's back. You know, as bad as everything is, we're still in first place. We win this game. We're 2 games up on Denver in the division. What's your feelings of this game moving into Monday night?
You know, here comes that kid that hasn't picked against the Chargers since 1989.
Right.
But no, seriously, here's the thing. In Ernie, my editor, put out an article about, hey, we lost, but at least Peyton Manning got banged up. The Patriots beat Peyton Manning up.
I saw that.
He got knocked around. He got to meet the turf more often than not.
Yeah.
And that's going to help a lot. He's not, a spring chicken. He's still Peyton Manning, but he's 36 years old. I feel good about the game because I don't buy any of their running backs. McGahee's my age. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Noshan Moreno, that guy's a bust.
Yeah, he sucks.
Ronnie Hillman, he scares me, but they refuse to give him an opportunity.
What's going on with that?
Let's hope that lasts at least one more week.
Right.
See, and Booga, and I was going to bring this up to you guys. I think I read somewhere where the Chargers blitzed Drew Brees about 31 times in that ball game on Sunday night. And God knows, we only got 3 sacks, but you know what? They
10%.
put consistent pressure on him, and I liked it. Now, if we do the same thing to Peyton Manning, with a lackluster run game. Our defense, our run defense is so stout this year. Nobody's really kind of harping on that because of the loss, but we only gave up 53 yards of total yards for rushing against the Saints.
And we know what Sproles can do.
Right, we know what Sproles can do, and to do that to me was pretty impressive. I think we get to Manning I think we get to Manning a little bit more often. We saw Weddle get in on Breeze, knock him around a little bit, strip the ball. Unfortunately, we didn't recover. But I think these are plays that we can make against Peyton where he can go down, fumble the ball, throw a pick. We've had great success at Qualcomm Stadium against Peyton. I think it's going to be a relived bad moment for him. I think we get after this guy, and I really think we dominate this football game.
Well, and I agree, 110%. We can't sit back like I love the game plan against New Orleans minus, not getting the ball to offensively more to Mathews, but we didn't sit back like we did in the Atlanta game, play that cover 2 shell that the three of us talked about the other day. Historically, Peyton Manning struggles against a 3-4 defense. Pagano knows the 3-4 inside and out. He learned it from Wade Phillips. He's one of the best in my opinion.
Yep.
And
look
if
at the
we
Texans.
can get after him, like you said, we're good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's a big key. The pressure on Peyton will be a huge key Monday night, and I think our offense, if not, just matches wit for wit. If whatever they're going to throw at us, we're going to throw it right back at them. It could be a high-scoring game, but I don't think so because I think our defense steps up big.
It's a pivotal game, and it's going to say a lot going into that bye, and I think after talking with 3 of the defensive backs from the Chargers and a couple guys on offense, they've already put the New Orleans game behind them, and this was as recent as the day after the game, so yesterday.
That's how you got to do it. You got to have a short-term memory.
Hey, they're ready to go. They're primed and they're pumped.
Have you heard anything about Vincent Brown, just by chance, and on the street or anything? Is he going to be healthy after the bye week or a couple weeks after the bye? If you have any inkling on him?
He gets to practice the week after the bye week, but he can't play till the following week.
Yeah, the Chiefs game is his first game of eligibility.
He's progressing well, so everything's good as far as the timetable for him coming back.
He adds that dimension. Yeah, he adds a dimension to our team.
Hey, little prediction from you. When he does eventually get back on the roster, who do you think is going to get cut? You think they're going to cut one of the running backs?
Oh, goodness, that's a terrible question to ask me. I like a lot of the running backs. It most likely will be a running back. Having Brown be inactive 2 weeks ago and then Brinkley last week, it's a really tough call. Brown has kind of been resigned to that third down receiving running back at this point in his career. Brinkley's a little cheaper, so to speak, and faster, but not quite as savvy as Brown. I hate to say it, but it'll probably be one of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I've actually been really happy with the way Brown's been playing on third. Reminds me a little bit of the old Ronnie Harmon days.
Right.
Oh, good Lord. Be careful. I love me some Ronnie Harmon. Yeah, I hear you.
Terrell Fletcher and Ronnie Harmon, man. You got to love those 2.
Well, Booga, what's your prediction before we let you go?
Thank you so much for having me. I had fun as usual. Keep doing what you're doing, and thanks again.
No problem.
You got it, man. Hey, what's your prediction?
Score. Yeah, give us a score, bro.
Oh, give you a score for the game?
Come on, man. Let's go, Swami.
Okay, no. I'll go ahead and put this one out there. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be 24-20 Chargers.
Okay.
Total of 44 points scored.
All right. I like that. I like
that score.
Right on, man. Hey, thanks for being on the show tonight, man. You're always a great call. You always have great insight. If you want to hit up Booga P, boltbeat.com, @Booga P, Twitter. Thanks again, dude. You're the best.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Booga.
I love
always
hanging out with you guys. I truly appreciate it. Take care. Nice to meet you, Jason, so to speak.
Yeah, you too.
That's the guy behind the wall.
Later, guys.
Later, man.
Have a good one. So, jumping along here, don't want to give up on the Denver talk, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be more of that in the near future here. Your pick to click last week, Donald Butler, who was solid. Didn't have much of an appearance this week.
No, we didn't really see him too much. I was surprised.
He made one solo tackle.
Which I was surprised because he had a solid game the week before.
Man.
My pick to click was Robert Meachem, who I had a feeling, just that comfort zone of being on that field, that he was going to have a game, and he did. Had 60 60-something yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Either way, had a great game.
Right.
Who's your pick to click this week?
Mine's going to be Ryan Mathews, man. The guy behind the shield, the mask. I need him.
With the start, hopefully.
You know what? I think he does start this week. I have this weird feeling. I think Norv's over it. I think he needs to get this guy involved. Norv's got a lot of pressure on him. We need to win this football game. Yeah. The whole Chargers team's got a lot of pressure. We need to be 4-2 into the bye week. I think he goes for a $120 and a TD, maybe even more, against a suspect Von Miller. Who's the other guy that they stud? I forget his name, but their linebackers are good. I don't like anybody else on there. Champ Bailey's a chump to me. I think he goes off. I think it's 120 and a TD, and let's hope he does because the Chargers will roll.
Jason, let's have you chime in. Who do you think is going to have the game?
I'm going to go with Eddie Royal, and I'm going to tell you he's going to have at least 4 third down catches on third down for first down this week. I think he's going to become his go-to guy on third down.
Like a Vincent Brown would be.
Exactly.
Why not? We've had 2 homecomings between Battle and Meachem. Why not a third with Royal and Denver?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good play right there.
For me, I'm going A. Gates. The reason why he was kind of suspect this last game.
Suspect all year.
You and I have been talking about it. I mean, they didn't really even get him the ball till I think the second or even third quarters.
Yeah.
For me, I think he does 4 catches. I don't think it's a whole lot of yardage because I think we're using him in goal line situations and he gets 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
Interesting point. I know that the coaches a lot of times they send stuff into the league, and I wonder how much footage the Chargers are sending in the league about how he's getting mauled on every play, and I'm wondering if something like that might be something the refs are actually going to be looking for this week.
That might be a big call in late in the game if something like maybe a similar play against the Saints.
I'm going to be interested to see how many times pass interference gets called on whoever's guarding him this week.
You're right. They do send a ton of footage in there, and they circle and they slow down.
Because it's been ridiculous. It's been ridiculous.
He's been mauled, and maybe that's why his production's down. He's making catches.
Yeah.
There seems like there's a penalty or something's going wrong.
Keep your eyes on him and just watch. It's disgusting how they absolutely rape him all the way down the field.
Yeah,
him and Floyd both really. I mean, Floyd
like you said, he doesn't really
like
no, he
it was
doesn't.
like he was giving somebody a piggyback ride in that Saints game and they didn't throw the flag. It's like the guy's on his back like 5 seconds before the ball gets there.
That's one of the things I really like about Floyd because I hate whining wide receivers, but at the same time maybe he needs to start whining a little bit because
he needs to get
it's not working for him. It's not working for him.
Being Mr. Nice Guy is not working.
Yeah, it really isn't.
So we're going to move on to our D-bag of the week.
Nice.
And for me, it's you, the NBC network. And the reason why is if anybody watched that game, it was everything Saints. And I wish I could really say what I feel as far as I think you had so-and-so's you-know-what in your mouth the whole game. But from the one-sided introductions to the coverage to the commentary, even the introduction when they're showing like all the shots of the Saints and showing Drew Brees and this and that, and there's nothing about the Chargers.
Right.
And I thought we were the 3-1 team. They were 0-4. Granted, we're at their house, but
and
it
it's
still
a big
shows
night.
It doesn't matter what the Chargers do. We could run the table. We could win the Super Bowl, and they would talk how the other team lost.
I agree only because it's happened to us ever since we've been Charger fans. We don't ever get any pub, and what do you expect? It's a Johnny Unitas night, Drew Brees record-breaking day. Coach Payton's in the stands, the owners in the stands.
That's another thing I had a problem with, and my girlfriend did too.
Well, that's another story.
They're supposed to be suspended,
topic.
never be in contact with the team, but yet they're allowed to be there when this all goes down.
The only thing that I have to say is it was a big night. It was a huge record that he did break. I get all that type of stuff. It's a great accomplishment for Drew Brees. I'm so tired of everybody's love affair with Drew Brees, though, man. I can't stand Drew Brees. I can't stand him.
Well,
I'm so tired of hearing San Diego fans talk about, he's such a
Drew
good
Brees,
guy.
yeah.
He's not a Charger. No. You need to root for interceptions. Right. I wanted him to have no touchdowns and 5 interceptions, and I wanted him to not break that record because he's not a Charger.
Right. One thing San Diego does, though, they're too nice.
They're way too nice.
Way too nice. And maybe not the diehard fans.
No,
we don't care.
We don't care.
want Drew Brees to do anything great on that day. I want him to lose.
I want the Saints to now go 1-15.
Right.
Exactly.
Finally.
I want Sproles to go down.
And Buka kind of touched on that a couple weeks ago, and it's like when Tomlinson then goes to the Jets, they're still cheering for his season to continue.
I hated him.
And Cromartie, and it's like
Yep.
I couldn't
it's like,
stand LT after he left.
I hated
for the
LT. I made
comments
fun
and
of him. I love him now because
do
he's
too.
not a Jet anymore.
Right.
But I hated him when he was a Jet, and
How
I
could you
wanted him
like
to
anybody
lose
like
yards
that?
and fumble every time he got the ball.
Right, and I guess Cromartie's not a good example because
Everybody hates Jets fans
I kind of
hate him.
hated him
Yeah.
when he was here to a point. I mean, I
When,
don't hate
when
anybody that
Merriman
has a
left,
bolt
I
on,
said,
but
see you later, Reuter.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Exactly. I
Hope you break
defended
your
him.
hip.
I defended him while he was here, and I
Unbelievable.
just railed on him when he left.
know.
right. So for me, NBC, there's two teams on the field. I think you owe the opposing team to have just as much coverage as Drew Brees and the Saints do. That I was just kind of bitter about that whole situation. It really bothered me the whole game.
Well, NFL Network did the same thing. I got home and watched some of the highlights, and they didn't show. They skipped the two scores. We were at 10, and they go, oh, well, after the Chargers went up 10, and they skipped right past the Chargers highlights, and they went right to the Breeze
It was
again.
about-
Breeze,
Well-
and at the end, when the Chargers made all the penalties, they showed all our
Right,
penalties.
and that's
Yeah.
why we jumped on ESPN.
I'm like-
They do the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like it's really hard to be a Charger fan. It really is.
Well-
when you want that coverage, and you know what? This is why we do this show.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah,
people
exactly.
like you, Booga in North Carolina, we got people calling in from Pittsburgh, from Arizona. These people that are transplants for whatever reason. You get a better,
Want better
position,
coverage, yeah.
military, whatnot. You have to move from San Diego, and you still want to hear about the Chargers. Check in with us. We're
Right.
going to give you your news week to week every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Justin TV. You can also follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/San Diego Sports Junkies. Thank you very much.
Nice. You just kept rolling with that. one.
Absolutely.
Attaboy.
So I want to get off the D-bag of the week and, get the fans' voice out there. I only got two questions this week, both from at the Raider Hater. That's the Raider H8ER. And his first question was, in last night's or Sunday night's performance, a reminder of Norv Turner's deficiencies as a head coach.
For me, until Norv wins the Super Bowl or he gets fired, we're going to have this debate every single week. Am I wrong? Until he wins a Super Bowl or he gets fired, we're going to have this discussion every week. Did Norv make the right call? Did Norv call the right play? Did Norv take the jockstrap out of a player's butt earlier? I mean, there's questions that we can't answer. There's plays that he makes, calls that he makes we'll never understand. He makes when we blow out the Titans, nothing's wrong. Nothing is ever wrong when we blow out. But if it's close and we lose, these questions keep arising. But there's always a point to it. There's always a point to it, and there always is debate.
And it's almost always
debate.
legitimate.
Do you ever hear Bill Belichick? Did they ever question Bill Belichick's calls? Really?
No.
How often do
Does
they?
he make bad calls? All coaches make
Yes.
bad calls. All coaches
Yes.
win games make calls that win games, make calls that lose games. For all you Norv haters out there, I have two words for you. When the Chargers win the Super Bowl, I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to tell you all to suck it.
Yep. And it's going to be a 9-hour show.
Yes.
Because I'm bringing champagne.
And not to cut you off, but I have a friend that might not be watching now, but he will be watching the replay. Tony, for you out there who says you're going to be a Cleveland Browns fan because when 10 years they win the Super Bowl, first of all, in 10 years, they're still not going to make the playoffs. They're horrible.
I feel bad for Browns fans.
And he says that if the Chargers win the Super Bowl this year, he's going to get a Chargers tattoo. But if he moves to L.A., he's not going to root for the Chargers ever again. So what, are you going to have a Charger tattoo on your body for the rest of your life and you're not going to be a Charger fan? That makes no sense to me.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that.
It's disappointing every year when we don't win the Super Bowl because every year I go into it thinking we're going to.
But every
only
team
one
does.
team does, for crying out loud. Stop.
It's
God,
hard. It's
Norv's your
hard.
coach.
Winning
Embrace
a championship is hard.
Every team that loses, you can look at all sorts of mistakes that the coach made.
There are some bad luck franchises out there. I think we are one of them. I do. We've had some really bad luck. I mean, the Freezer Bowl,
the dropped interception,
the 06
Right.
playoff game.
But then again, you can look at the flip side. You can look at the Patriots. They were undefeated all the way to the Super Bowl and lost.
But what
would
you
happen
can
if-
hang your hat
It
on.
doesn't matter what you do
what would
up
people
to
in
that
San
point.
Diego? It's funny because San Diego fans are so easy on everybody except for Norv, and I don't get that. If we had gone undefeated and just lost the Super Bowl, everybody would be railing on him too.
Well, and the funny thing is, and I think I brought this up in past shows, is that they had a statistic during one of the games where it showed his record compared to Marty, and Norv had a better record.
Yeah.
And whether
he's been here longer.
whether he was given a team or not,
but
he was still able to
we had the
maintain that, and
same-
he's won more playoff games than Marty did.
If you guys remember,
he's won more
there
playoff
was the
games
same
than
debate.
anybody has as a head coach for the
People
Chargers.
wanted to run Marty out of here, though, too.
I know.
It was the same debate we're having with
know.
Norv.
Exactly.
He can't win the big one. He's too conservative. He just likes to run the football.
Yeah.
He never wants to pass the ball. Now it's the opposite. Oh, we don't run the football. We can't. I mean,
it's not going to stop till we get a Super Bowl.
Don't even bring up Norv anymore. He's the coach. He is the coach. We can't do anything about it. So knock it off.
He's going to win a Super Bowl this year anyways, and you're all going to
We're going to win a title, and I'm never going to say a bad word about the guy again. I don't care if he screws up 3 or 4 games in a row. I'm never going to say a bad thing because we have a ring.
Yes.
You know what the great thing is when we do win a ring, and 10 years from now they put Norv Turner's statue out in front of the stadium,
Yes.
and everybody's going
And
to
I
have
will
to look
bow
at
down.
his ugly mug when they go in there.
And they'll all talk
gonna
about
love
what
that.
and they'll all talk about what a great coach he was.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And all this will be forgotten.
Yeah.
I'll be the guy putting a bottle of Neutrogena face cleanser in front of me.
So, next question from @TheRaiderHater. Another Norv question. Should Norv have gone for the field goal or punted it just before half? What's your guys'
Let me
opinion?
ask you this question. How was that field goal missed? Was it short?
He shanked it left.
Okay, so, I mean,
But it was a 55-yarder. That's not a gimme by any means.
No, and especially Novak, who is only his second week in the
in
a regular game. And
Kading drills that, by the way, if Kading's
yes, in the regular
Kading's
season
healthy.
he does.
Right.
He nails that thing.
But you have to have faith in your field goal kicker. If you don't
Yeah.
have faith in your
Gotta
field
show
goal kicker,
confidence in him.
then you need to cut him and get somebody else in there that you do. He has the leg to make a 55-yarder.
Get
You
him out
run
there.
him out there, and you expect that he's going to make it. The fact that he missed it, field goal kickers miss
Yeah.
it, it didn't cost us anything, so it wasn't a bad
do we
decision.
think he's Jason Elam? No. Do we think he's
Right.
Sebastian Janikowski? No.
Right.
But Nick Novak should be able to hit a
He should've- he
55-yarder
should've
in
hit
a
it.
dome with no elements.
Right.
Yeah, crowd noise involved, whatever. It just hit the field goal, bro. I mean, I'm sick of missed field goals by this team.
Well,
Everything-
you have one job. You have one job, and that's to kick a field goal,
Everything
kick
is-
a ball straight, and you can't even do
It's
that.
hard. I mean, I couldn't do it, obviously.
Hindsight's 20/20, and when you look back on it, was it a bad decision? No, because it didn't cost us anything. We didn't get the 3
Right.
points,
I
but they
agree with
didn't
that.
score. So
There was
when
no
you look back on it,
repercussions for it.
it was not a bad decision. It was a good decision that,
I hear you. I agree with that.
Now,
because nothing happened.
hypothetically,
Yeah, if it would've cost
they
us
go
a-
down and score the touchdown, you
then
still
it was
have
a
that
bad.
same.
Then at that time it was a bad
tremendously
decision. You
bad
can
call.
look at all sorts of decisions by Norv and say,
And that's the
that was
coach's
a,
decision.
That
Hey.
was a bad decision that he made. But you know what? What happens if he makes it and we end up winning the game by 3 points? We say, oh, what a brilliant decision that
Yeah,
was.
and he's got to weigh out
You
that
know?
option. What if we miss here?
Same thing. Fake punts. It's a great decision if you make it.
Yes.
Right,
If you don't,
yes.
it's a terrible
Then like-
decision.
goal.
What the?
It's
Yes.
a great
You know?
decision if you
If
score the
you make
touchdown.
it,
Right.
right.
Exactly.
Right. Next and last segment, over under. So Ryan Mathews has been steadily improving, and we all know that he has the breakout potential. We all know that he has that home run
Hitter.
We all know that he is a Pro Bowl caliber running back. So Ryan Mathews gets his first 100-yard game against Denver on Monday night.
That's easy for me. I already called him earlier. $120. Mathews, it's not the fact that he's steadily getting better. He's already better. He's the better guy for the job. He just needs to play. 12 carries.
12 carries, 100 or
12
80
carries
yards.
isn't cutting it. 6.7 yards average should really just jump out at you, Norv. I don't know what your deal is, buddy.
Right.
I'm talking to you. Give
would-
him the ball at least 20 to 22 times a game, and give him 5 catches in the out routes. I mean,
That's the
we
only
need
thing-
him to touch the football.
Right, that's the only thing that would prevent him from getting to 100 yards. But I agree. I don't see any reason why he couldn't break 100 if he gets the touches.
He's ready. He's ready
He's ready.
to break out. It is going to be his breakout game.
He's ready to start.
Yeah.
He showed last week he can hold on to the football and do somersaults into end zones.
Yep.
That's what he proved. So.
Well, we all know that Peyton Manning has happy feet, and when he plays a 3-4 defense, he tends to struggle.
Pitcher patcher.
He tends to throw the ball away.
Right.
I don't know about you guys if you really watch Peyton Manning, but to me, I mean, for one, he can't throw the ball deep, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Any more accurately
and when he does throw the ball, it's a duck. It's
Wobbles.
not a spiral.
Yeah,
it's not
wobbling.
Clean. It's kind of wobbly.
It's looking like Rivers throws.
Well, if you notice, most of his passes are out routes now.
So,
Yeah.
Going into this, we've kind of had Peyton Manning's number over the last few seasons.
Right.
Peyton Manning 2 interceptions, over or under?
I'm going to say under. I think that I don't think he's going to have a stellar game, but I don't think I think his last 3 games he hasn't thrown a pick.
Yeah, his numbers are good. I think he's still got 3 on the year.
I'm gonna say under, but I still think we're gonna win. I think he's gonna throw 1. I think it's gonna be a tip ball and we're gonna get 1.
I say he gets right at 2. I think our defense. I don't know what it is about the Chargers and Peyton Manning. I just like the matchup. I feel good. I don't feel scared ever when we play Peyton Manning. I feel like we're going to fly around a little bit. I think John Pagano's going to dial up some good blitzes, some good schemes for these guys, because they really don't scare you. They really don't scare you, guys. McGahee is not scaring me after all the backs we've faced this year. I think he throws a couple picks on Monday night, and I think we cruise.
Yeah, I'm saying 2. Like Jason said, I think there's a tip ball. It almost seems like week to week we get at least 1 tipped interception.
Right. Should have had 2 last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to call, not Weddle, Atari Bigby getting a pick this
Well,
game.
wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
He has a tough time catching. Hopefully he can hold on to one.
His hands, yeah.
Hopefully he can hold on to one.
Now, I think 2 for sure that we get, and I would not be surprised if we got more. To
All
be
right.
honest.
Hope you're right.
Yeah.
Last one again. On the Manning factor, the 3-4 defense. 3 sacks on Manning this game.
I'm saying over. I say we get 5 or 6.
That's I mean, what we've been talking about. I mean, for me personally, dialing up some blitzes, getting pressure, disguising schemes. We do all those things well. John Pagano's been here when we played Peyton Manning. He knows how to attack him. I think we get after him. I think we have 4 to 5, maybe 6 sacks, like Jason said.
So before we go, guys, let's do the prediction. It's prediction time. What do you guys think, Jason?
I'm going to say Chargers 27-17.
Nice. I'm going to go 31-17. I think we win by a couple scores.
Yeah, you almost took it right out of my mouth. I was thinking 31-20.
Yep.
Chargers get off full head of steam and pull their typical ease in. Ryan Mathews running it for 100 yards in the second half, and we put a nail in the coffin.
I hear you. I think they need to mix in Battle, too, this week. Hard nose running, mix in with Mathews. I think he'll be a big key, too.
I'd like to see LaRon McClain get the ball more.
Yeah, nice. I wouldn't mind seeing he used to run the ball a lot more
get the ball,
when he was at the Ravens.
Even out of the backfield, he seems to have good hands.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them mix them in a little bit more.
I think they just have so many options right now. They can't get him too involved yet.
So, guys, I want to thank you for tuning in to San Diego Sports Junkies with our guest Jason, Justin, myself. We're a show for fans.
By the fans.
And we want to thank you all for tuning in to San Diego Sports Junkies. We are out.
C2TSD, you can be here next week, buddy.
Right here. It's all you. Anybody can be here.
Call in. Show up. It's all you. Show for fans by the fans.